Test, test, test.
That chick's really gonna hate you right now. Eating a burrito. Do you think she get mad at the baby eating?
Probably.
Yeah, because the baby makes noise while he eats.
I would just sit here and all of us eat. She never really showed up again, did she?
No. Some people, I swear, just like go around, get their anger out, and then leave the internet and like go live their life, and then like, oh, I'm angry again. Let me go be mean. He doesn't like it either.
Boris, we're filming.
Forrest Michael Carter.
Everybody's gonna have to excuse me for a minute.
While you eat your lunch at
Just what?
4 p.m. or 3 p.m. Yeah.
I would love to have already been done, but I was at Starbucks writing up the show.
Did you bring any treats from Starbucks? You just
Treats? No, we don't do that.
you didn't bring any cookies or anything? Is it because you ate too much of the
Bring?
pie? Oh, you brought it in your stomach? Whatever, dude. I just had a baby.
I just didn't think you'd want that because you're always like, nah, I'm not into it. And I'm kind of trying to like, it's a real balancing act of like selfishness and looking out for you. Because I want to look out for you because I know you don't really want to eat a bunch of that crap.
Yeah.
And the selfishness is like, what if she asks for like half my brownie?
That's right. And then
So-
I have to like, yeah.
It's a bit of like a moral
Have I
dilemma.
ever been like, can I have half your brownie?
No, of course not. You just typically grab it and eat
eat
it.
it.
Yeah, you don't really ask about it. Forrest is farting, guys. And he's the only one on set allowed to.
He's going a little further.
He might have done a little bit more damage than
Uncle
just.
Sean want to change his first diaper?
Nope.
Really?
Uh-huh.
You don't want to change the diaper?
No.
Should we get video of that? That'd be awesome. I want to see it.
Okay. So 2 questions.
All right.
How bad are the black beans?
You have to smile to show me.
But I'm scared.
I used to have a friend who did this. Do I have anything in my teeth?
Let me be civilized.
I'm not going to judge you.
No, I know you won't. It's just, it'll be on film.
No, they won't see it. Smile. 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Most excellent. Okay. Okay. So, hi, Shelby.
Hey, Shelbs. Can you make another pie?
Can we have a cookie pie, please?
Can you make a pie now?
A buttery cookie delight. So anyways, I just said that twice. So the video on Mission was really like, I was just thinking about it, and I was thinking about like all the stuff that I want to try and achieve, and so much of it is like personal stuff of like, I want to be, like the cliche best I can be, I really want to find out, like Jim says, what all I can do with the time I've got. What can I create? What skills can I bring in? How can I become the best man that I've always wanted to be, right? So that's a really that's a juicy, juicy mission. In and of itself, that'd be enough to like keep you busy, right?
100%.
Yeah, and then on top of that is the mission of what I'm really like, which we've talked about before, and that mission is that I'm determined to find a way, and I don't even know how that's going to look or how it's going to come to pass or how I will make that happen. And that's basically, how to help other folks avoid the traps and the blockages or getting locked up or getting stuck in the same ways that I and a lot of other people that I've kind of come across have been stuck as well for lack of information, wisdom, knowledge, insights, tools, skills, things like that, emotional skills, life skills, all these things that I really feel that, and we've talked about this at length so many times, that feel like should be taught in school,
Yeah.
should be taught by parents, and that if I would have had that information at 20 or 25, I'd be in a very different space than I am right now. I didn't find that till very late. So I think that big mission is that, or for me, the kind of macro mission is to try and see how I can figure out, whether it's writing books or videos or both, or speaking or whatever it is, to try and get that message across and really make it to where if you want it, there's no mystery anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no like, I've never heard of a Jim Rohn, or I've never heard of a Zig Ziglar, or a Darren Hardy, or whoever might be the person, or a Les Brown, or whoever might float your boat.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody going through life, you're stuck. I don't want anybody going through life struggling for the simple fact of a lack of knowledge of certain information that I feel like we should all have. Like our owner's manual should like come with it. And like I was talking about parents and you know, a lot of, you know, like I was saying, parents honestly are more responsible than the schooling, anything like that should be. But the problem is a lot of our parents don't get that information either.
Right.
So it's just a continuing process. Parents didn't learn these skills, they didn't get it from their parents, so they can't teach you what they don't know. So, on not to draw this out too far, but that's kind of like the macro mission, and it's a really, I don't know, I think it gives a lot of meaning to life, not just with me, but just with anybody in general who has a kind of like mission to go out and do something greater than just yourself. And like, and that's really the thing, was like, we got this time here, and you're just gonna like go like work at Dairy Queen. And if anybody works at Dairy Queen, no hard time, but like, just like, not cultivate or pull out your best stuff and just kind of like coast through life when there's certain things you could be doing that could really help a lot of other people. So there was a cool post about mission today, and I articulated it in the video much better than I'm doing right now.
It's really special. I mean, that's.
But it's really what it's about. And I think for me, like I was kind of like unwrapping the thoughts and the distinctions as I was doing the video. I was like, oh, so there's kind of a personal, and then there's kind of a micro, and there's a macro, and they're both super valuable, and they both feed into each other. And so I was just kind of challenging people to like, you know, have you sat down and have you worked out what your mission is? And your mission, like I said, could be just have the best family in the world, and break family cycles of dysfunction. It could be the first one to go to college. It could be the first one to like be financially set. You know what I mean? It could go so many different levels. First one to own a small business. First, you know, just anything. So that was pretty cool. And when you get a chance, hi Forrest. When you get a chance, I'm glad. I like it when you're not farting. We get along good when you're like, right? He's like, yeah, you like that, do you? Uh-oh, looks like he's loading up.
No.
Nope.
He's set.
Are you loading the cannon?
He's ready for you to change his diaper.
No, that's coming later. A lot later. When you're 18, we'll talk about it.
You're never gonna change Forrest's diaper?
I'm just not a diaper kind of guy. It's got nothing to do with this.
Any of us like diaper type of people?
People that have kids, they are, yeah.
They have to be.
It's like, you know, are you the kind of person that likes to clean doggy throw up out of your bed? No, but if you have dogs, you betcha. I've cleaned a lot of throw up out of my bed or off my floor or pee or whatever it's been. So hi bud. He's looking,
Relaxed. He's happy now.
Yeah. He's throwing some cute looks. We need like a Forrest cam.
A Forrest cam. Wouldn't that be great? Oh my God.
So it's either I say something really cute about him, or I say something like ridiculously like dastardly. Like, what if something was, and you're like, oh God, no. And you're very, very sensitive about it. I know you are. Anyways.
But yeah, so that's cool. So you're saying like there's micro mission and then there's macro mission.
Yeah.
And micro mission can kind of shift as life shifts, right?
Sure. I think they both can.
Yeah. But macro mission has a little bit more of like a bigger theme kind of thing to it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've got your micro mission of like what you want to cultivate internally, right? Right. But then I'm sure you also, if like push came to shove, you've also got a macro mission of like, before you step off this earth, the things you would like to have left behind and the impact you would like to have created. And I just think we need more conversations about this. I know it's a dog training show, and this may not be the place people expect to get this, but it's like, people need to think about it, because you know, it's the same old saw, but like it goes so quick. And
have you ever seen the video? I'm sorry, but have you ever seen the video where they show, like, basically from conception, like how lucky you are basically to be alive?
As far as like all of the possible problems,
possible problems, but also like even just like all of the people, all of the swimmers vying to get to the,
yes,
to the creek.
right.
And then, but like that, past that, then you actually survive past a certain amount. I think the video breaks down like only this percentage actually makes it to 3 months in your belly, and then after that, and then how many people make it like past that, like to a year and 5 years. And how lucky we are to actually be as adults living. If you're in good health, you fucking won the lottery. Like, you're living in America.
Yep.
Good health. Over age of 18.
Thank God. So you're out of school.
Yes. Have a roof over your head. I mean, those are all like, you've won the lottery.
And access to just about any information that, like, my dad.
I guess that's kind of what.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, my dad, we've talked about this, my dad, your dad, your mom, my mom, even though there were things out there, like you could go hunt through a library, but search. There was not the ability of the not freedom, but the, what's the word? The access, just the incredible amount of access to information, like that I can be on my elliptical machine and be watching Gary Vee and be inspired and getting ideas as I'm doing that. That's like fresh, coming every day. I mean, it's just, it really is a special time, and like utilizing gratitude while you're working through this, even though it's a great time, it's also hard. It's also, all this stuff, there's problems and challenges and all that. So, but like kind of leveraging gratitude against all that, like Gary Vee's big thing is, it's, 400 trillion to 1 is his big thing going on right now. To become a human being, the odds are 400 trillion to 1. And so he's just like, it's 400 trillion to 1. You know how lucky you are.
Seriously,
like appreciate where you're at, that you have a shot to go out and do some stuff. So anyways, that was that. Anybody wants to see that, of course, this is going to be like later on in the week, but go to the Facebook page and look up that post called The Mission. I had maybe one of the nicest compliments I've ever had today from my friend Josh Mudd.
Oh yeah, Josh.
You know Josh? So yes, so me and Josh, Josh had a life-threatening situation, right?
I remember that.
I think he actually, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not giving away too much information, but I think he actually expired on the table.
I think you told me that.
Yeah, and they had to bring him back, which has really put him on a cool path of like
I'm gonna push myself.
Yeah, appreciation, gratitude, turning things around, working his butt off, and he's just an awesome dude. And me and him have a lot of like parallels and connections in a lot of different ways. He's much more macho and manly than I am, but we find our middle ground. So his comment on the mission post today was, this is so sweet. You remind me of a really well put together greatest hits album. Is that the best?
So awesome.
That is the best compliment. I said, that is too awesome. That might be the best compliment I've ever received. It's so well put together.
Such like a cool way to put it.
It really is. So anyways, guys, find your mission. You get a teeny bit of time, go do something special with it. Don't waste your time. Don't be sitting on the couch at 80 or 90 and being like, I could have done. Man, it's too late. It's so sad. Don't do that. Like, your brain and your ability and everything you can do so much special stuff. And here's the thing that always comes down to for me, Laura, is that like, even if you just inspire one person, just one person, like if your goal is just to create a great family and you turn out like a kid that's just like amazing, how many people is that kid gonna affect? And the ripple, I know we got to get into the show, but it's such an important one for me, and I know it's a super important one for you, and I'm just thrilled to be able to share it. So anyways, with that, let's move on. So we've got, in just a couple days, I was going to I was going to drive out of here and go see my folks in the AZ up in Prescott Valley. And I was literally ready to roll. My mom was like, I'm sure she was baking and getting stuff all ready. And I wasn't even going to take the dogs. I was going to take the Jag, and I was just going to like fly up and do a road trip like Manny and Belle, so I guys are going to hang.
Yeah.
And had it all planned. And then Shelby, I think it was Shelby, was it last night or the night before? She's like, said something about T3, and I was like, oh yeah, we got T3 coming. And she's like, no, you've got like T3 on Monday. And I was like, you mean I get back Sunday and T3 starts Monday, so that means Jeff will be here, and that means we need to prep. And I was like, oh crap, so this isn't going to work. And then I had to write my mom an email, and she was very displeased. I mean, she understood, but she was pretty upset.
I just remember you texted me and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go to AZ and I'm gonna be back Sunday before T3. I was like, oh no, you're not. Because if something happens and you're like, oh shit, I'm not going to be in until Monday morning.
I'll take a Greyhound bus. I'll get here, lady. Don't you worry. You know what's weird? The Jag has no spare tire.
Just like,
isn't that crazy?
it's crazy.
Your car's got a spare tire.
Oh yeah.
No spare tire.
No room.
I was
Where
like,
are you going
I
to
asked
put the spare tire in that thing?
You always find a spot. But I was like, so I was at the service place, and I was like, so where's the spare tire? And he's like, there isn't one. And I'm like, so what happens when I break down? He's like, you call people to come pick you up. I'm like, this sucks. Anyways, guys, the Porsche had a spare tire. Okay, so we got T3 starting Monday. Obviously, this is a big deal. T3, we're only doing 3 this year.
Yep.
So we've really narrowed it down. We got baby stuff. We got Jeff traveling around doing RV dog trainer.
Yep.
We've got me back and forth between, like my brain's all over, between Europe. I'm not going to Europe. We've got me going between NOLA here, working on the book, working on other things. We've got Tori super busy in Florida doing her thing. So like putting all the schedules together, it's a super big challenge. So what we've managed to do is narrow it down to 3. You chastised me thoroughly because I said Florida for the 3rd one, but it hasn't actually been.
We haven't set anything.
No, so it's the South.
We know we're going to do a southern location.
Boy, is that vague.
Well, it
Southern.
helps. Some people are like, oh yeah, I'm in the South. So they're like,
Yeah.
We have East Coast, West Coast,
Southern coast.
Yeah.
The southern area. Anyways, so keep your eyes peeled. If anybody wants to come join us, you would have one day after seeing this, like, to come join us, right? So you got to be close. You got to be close. Anyways, Rhode Island's coming up. Any idea?
That one is like mid-April or something.
Mid-April.
Like that,
Once it's so warmed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be doing like.
Still gonna be cold though.
Yeah, but like not like T3. We've had some T3s where it's like.
The one T3 we had there
snowman.
was April. Really cold one.
Really? Was that the last one where we all had
end
snow?
Of March. Mm-hmm. That one was cold, but then we had an even colder one. But I think that was in like.
I think
November.
I think we picked a kind of bad month at one point. Anyways, so I know some folks were asking about like East Coast stuff. So Rhode Island's coming up. You can always just link it up. We can link it up because you can look at the other stuff, which is www.trainthetrainers.com. Okay, let's see. I'm back from NOLA, obviously. Had a great time. Things were fun.
We did the. Oh yeah, we did that cool version. And Tara, I want to say Tara Isaacson. I was going to say Tara Stout. Yeah, Tara Isaacson wrote and said that she said nothing better than like to a testament to dog training than me walking Cujo.
Oh right. I saw that.
Filming at the same time, and it's so true, Tara. I was walking down the street. My street is loaded with. It's like a street with a lot of apartment buildings that are really like don't allow big dogs, like you call them. They're like, oh no, we don't do, but we do small dogs. And I'm like, why?
Small snotty dogs.
Yeah,
they have to be snotty.
They have to be snotty to live there. So people walk down the street and their dogs like that moment. I just want to talk about this real quick.
Go.
There's this moment.
You got the floor.
That I see. I was sitting at coffee with my dad the other day and I saw it like go down in slow motion. What you see is someone walking their dog, They look up.
Just
they
laugh
see a
whenever your
dog ahead.
dad's involved. Because
Especially with dogs.
I know his perspective is going to just be awesome on any of it.
Yeah. He's like, oh, wow, that dog's angry. But this guy was just walking along with his dog. I see him look up, and I see the color leave his face, and he goes, oh, no, oh, no, oh, no. And he's like pulling his dog back.
Looking
There's
at
another-
Cujo?
No, I wasn't with Cujo at this time.
Oh,
but This
okay.
was just,
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking about bad dogs in general.
Okay,
I just see
gotcha.
a lot of them.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, I see a lot of them on my street, and the dogs are going nuts. And I've got Cujo, and he's interested in dogs, but
Mm-hmm.
he's not like going nuts. And if I give him little corrections every once in a while to make sure he's staying in line and not staring too much at the dogs wanting to go play. But it's a huge testament to the training. And I've like, man, I just wish they all came with one.
I remember, I think I told you about this when I was out running at the park, and there was a woman who was going the opposite direction with the stroller,
Yep.
with a small dog, which
Yep.
should be bratty,
Yep.
and running right along. She's jogging with the stroller, got her little baby, little dog right next to it,
Yeah.
and they're hustling around. And I see him coming, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
programmed. I'm like,
Yeah.
like I'm ready for like
happen.
karate
Yeah,
moves.
yeah.
I'm like, he's gonna go after my legs. He's
Yeah,
gonna do all
yeah.
this, and
She's a dog trainer, right? Like an IQ?
she I think she might have had a dog
it was
try.
an
She might have,
IQ.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like-
And right, and I didn't see it at first, and as I got closer, I just saw her like give a little tap, and he
Yeah.
was like, bink, and he was just like, I was like, look at you go, lady.
Yeah.
That's how you empower yourself. Use the tools, strategy, training in order to be able to like take your dog with your baby. So you got some mad props.
Oh, yeah.
For
Thanks, Tara.
for mommying it up. Tara's on your team. The book. Shall we chat real quick about the book? This is a long intro, but
Yeah.
we'll get through it.
Yeah.
How you feeling about it?
It's work, man, but it's good. It looks good. It reads good.
We've really
We
like.
get better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been so excited, and I know you guys have heard me talk about it, but literally, I'd say it's 90% completely fresh rewritten.
Yeah.
Maybe 10% stuff that you've seen before.
Right.
Even that has tweaks in it.
Right.
A lot of the concepts and ideas you've seen before, but I mean, I've like basically removed them and started fresh, because like I was telling you, I do really badly with like, let me replace a paragraph,
Yeah,
and then the
yeah,
tone's
yeah.
all out of
No,
whack and
yeah,
everything.
totally.
So I've written like top to bottom, brand new, added a bunch of new stuff. A lot of you guys made great recommendations. You've been like just knocking it out of the park with formatting and putting it all together. I
Yeah,
know we're like
just all that
submitting the
stuff.
cover,
Yep.
and so it's really coming together. We've got this cool new idea about adding all of these like quotes about what is leadership
Yep.
to you, from you regular peeps, which is like super exciting and actually pretty novel. I don't think I've seen anybody else do it, so that's
really
cool.
cool, yeah.
Something I was telling people about just the other day on was Instagram stories, talking about capturing ideas and how important it is if you're
writing
trying,
stuff down.
right? And that at 3:30 in the morning, against every fiber of my being that just wanted to go back to sleep, I had an idea about how to close the book,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Ugh!"
Yeah.
And I got up and I grabbed my phone and I wrote it down,
Yeah.
and it literally became one of the coolest ways for me to wrap up the book that I'm super excited about.
Yeah, yeah.
And that just goes to show you guys, capture those freaking ideas.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people respond and be like, I used to do it, or now I'm doing it, and they're like
Yeah.
capturing stuff and feeling good about it.
Yeah,
It's such a game changer if you want to create content or have any kind of like consistent interactions in social media with, content
Yeah.
value or anything like
Yeah.
that. So books coming along. In a perfect world, I'd have everything finished written by Sunday. And then, of course, we've got
That's
T3.
tomorrow when this comes out.
Yeah, but I mean, before this comes out, I have a few days, so it's not quite that bad. But getting extremely close. One of the things that I realized today, this was a really cool thing, right? I know it's going long.
It's like 30.
I know I've got a lot on my chest. I got a lot to get off my chest. Is that even if I stopped writing now, even if I had a stroke and fell apart, like couldn't get off the floor, I'm proud of it. What is there now?
Sure, yeah.
It would kill.
Yeah.
It would kick ass right now
Yep.
if you had to pick up the pieces and were like, unfortunately, Sean passed away from like a
passed, but
donut
yeah.
overdose. I'm going to go ahead and like put the book out.
Right.
it's there.
Yeah, it's totally
there. Like now we're just like making sure it's extra kick-ass.
Yeah.
So super. That was a cool thing because I feel a lot of pressure, a lot of stress about it,
Yeah.
and being like, hey, like it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
So that feels great.
Awesome,
And then I have a question for you just before we roll into any of this stuff because this is like my favorite part of the show.
Oh, the throwbacks. I don't have any prepared for you.
I know, I like it. I think this is going to be the way it's going to go.
Okay.
I don't even think we're going to go back and forth.
Okay.
I'm just going to hammer you.
Okay, cool.
This one's really easy.
I'm gonna know it.
Are you going to know it?
Got to.
Okay. So, I'm not going to make it as easy as it could be. You're going to have to give a real name. Who jumped the shark?
Oh,
Right now, everybody's jumping through their screen like, I know.
like, what do you mean, who jumped the shark?
Oh.
It's Steven Spielberg. Right? He always jumps the shark.
Do you see how I'm drinking this?
Wait, who jumped the shark? A lot of people jump the shark. That's a phrase. I'm serious. It's Jaws. I mean, what?
I just love you so much. You're so special.
I do.
You're so special.
A lot of people jump the shark.
A lot of people have jumped the shark. But do you know that that phrase came from something very specific?
From Jaws.
No. There was
Yes. It's from a TV show. I know.
Oh, it's not from Jaws?
It's not.
Jaws didn't jump anything? Or they didn't jump over like, guys, we need a bigger boat. And then I'm going to jump over Jaws.
I'm gonna cut this one out.
Don't you dare.
It's the Fonz. It's the Fonzie. Fonzie. It's when the show started to go downhill. That's when he was on the back. He was wearing his jacket. He was on the back of he was skiing, water skiing, and he did a jump over a shark.
Get down with your bad self.
Is that badass? You see that?
You were in a heavy nosedive. There were flames on the wings. I mean, your parachute was getting ready. It was like I was like, this is gold right here. And then it just like came. But do you want to hear the second part of the question?
Yeah.
Because you already answered it. So I said, who jumped the shark specifically?
Fonzie.
Right? And you even said the Fonz and Fonzie,
Yeah.
giving both of his God-given names.
Nice.
And
Which
then
I've never actually seen that show. My little brother used to love it. Who's 20? He's
so crazy. You've never seen
No,
that
I've
show.
seen it, but I'm not like into it, I just know that phrase really well.
Yeah, so that's where it originated from.
Okay.
And then the next question was, what was he wearing that would be inappropriate for water skiing?
That was the whole thing.
His
I was
leather
like,
jacket.
Why is he like?
I think
now
he
he's like,
had his leather jacket, and I think he
hair
had.
was done, and he-
Well, his hair's always done, but I think he also had like a life jacket on
Oh.
over. I can't remember. You guys can clarify. But I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You pulled that one out like.
That's a big industry reference, though.
I know it is.
Oh, okay.
That's why I gave it to you.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I also know that industry references can just like take on a life of
Yeah,
their own,
that's
and
true.
everybody's like,
That's true.
oh, where'd that come from?
That's true.
Yeah, we're all so fancy,
was
except
going-
we have no recollection of where that actually originated from. So I'm here to keep you honest.
All right.
Here we go. Ready to jam?
Hit it.
Jump into it? Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and to my left, well, there's actually a duo. To my left is the lovely Laura Morgan and the very strikingly handsome and hopefully well-behaved Forrest. Hi, Forrest. Hey, bud.
Change my diaper. Change my diaper.
We'll get to
Change
it.
diaper.
We'll get to it. Give us time. And everything that you can't see, which is really not much because it's all right here,
Yeah.
is the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday. Q&A Saturday. Tell me what we're doing.
You'll do one.
Just it? God, this is so easy. Ready? Q&A Saturday, episode 121. Oh, Forrest, you're being forced. I'm calling Child Protection Services.
No.
See there we go again. There we go. I'm gonna put a jacket on him. No, he might be hot. Okay, you ready to jump in? All right, this is a jalopy of an episode.
Okay, question number 1 comes from Siobhan. Siobhan says,
Yes, Siobhan.
not exactly a question, but perhaps a good talking point on
Well.
the topic.
Talking point.
points.
Fancy.
Fancy. I think it'd be helpful for people to learn about and discuss your stance on having people see their worth and value. As someone who's been through the ringer with self-doubt, haters, and disbelief, and I think the biggest obstacle people face is themselves, not so much the outside. More people, including myself, need to believe in themselves and go after what they want instead of society or the rest of the world telling them how they can't or determining their worth for them. I'm getting better each day and hope others can find their path to happiness through their own strengths. I hope that makes sense.
I think it does.
Definitely makes sense, Miss Siobhan. I'm gonna set the timer.
Do you want to? I didn't even I'm so disheveled here.
Don't worry about it.
There's
All
no
the things
names,
that matter
so
to you, don't worry about it. We got this. Hit it.
do you want me to jump in, or you want to
Jump in first.
Jump in.
Yeah.
Okay. Miss Siobhan.
Miss Winter.
Miss Winter.
Talking points.
Okay, so you're talking about
Making fun of you, just that we're not that cool. To be
talking points. We don't know about that. We're just gonna yap. So you're talking about how to help people see their worth, see their value, and mostly talking about the internal kind of conversation.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to run down. I wrote you some notes because I always write notes. And that's for one, eschewing, which is a great word. Eschewing, this is part of my talking points, eschewing all negative influences, full stop, grab onto that. Eschewing all negative influences and only surrounding yourself with positive, supportive, healthy peeps, right? So that can sound ridiculously simple, overly simplistic, that is 90,000 million % of what you're asking about, because you're talking about having people influence. You're talking about is how do I build this thing internally within myself, but all these externals are causing me to doubt, not feel good, and question, and this and that. The way that you build that is internally without giving a crap about anything going on outside. But the way you do that is by making sure that what you're feeding your brain as far as positive influences are something that are going to be very profound, very healthy, very moving you forward, and then removing all of the other stuff that's going to be moving you in the other direction. It's a very just clear trade-off. I want to bring this stuff in, and I want to take this stuff and bring it out. People, influences, TV shows, media, whatever it might be, and then same thing on this side, whatever you're going to bring in to where your brain gets better information, so you can then internalize all this stuff and start to make better decisions based on, you want to create self-worth and self-confidence and self-trust. You don't get that by having people going yeah, who the hell are you? Or you're full of shit, or are you sure that's going to work? You get that by being around people that are yeah, go take a chance, take a shot at this. I did it, you can do it. It's so important that you have people that are whether virtual or real, that are standing behind you and pushing you forward with belief, right? So that's part of it. So only surrounding yourself with positive, supportive, healthy peeps. And then the personal work, which is the really hard stuff. I can talk to you about listening to audios and da-da-da-da-da-da. But I was reading one of my favorite books right now. I got to send it to you because you've got one of these. Was Larry Winget's Your Kids Are Your Own Fault.
I have that book. I listened to it while I was 9 months pregnant.
Did you?
I'm done with it. Yes.
Is it a badass book?
It's awesome. Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Larry just
love Larry.
I just one of the greatest things he said was talking about, and I'll make this really short, but telling his kids, no matter what, you call me if anything ever happens. I don't know if you remember that part.
Yeah.
And he was we'll deal with repercussions and consequences later,
Yeah.
but I want you to trust that no matter what bad shit goes down, you can always, I want you to always contact me first. And his boys did that.
Yeah.
And it's just that was a really warm moment for me of a dad stepping up and being a dad. And he told the story of him being out on a date with a girl and the car breaking down, and his dad had told him to call him. This is Larry as a kid. Right? And Larry was went to the phone box and called his dad, and the girl was embarrassed, and Larry was embarrassed. They were at make out point or whatever. His dad shows up, and Larry's totally freaked out, and his dad opens up the hood, calls Larry out, and he's you left it in drive. The car's not going to start because it's in drive. I put it in park for you. It'll start now. Take this lady home. we're good.
We're not gonna say
Right? And his dad never said another word about it. He just showed up, helped him out, knew that he had learned his lesson, was embarrassed. It just
Yeah.
super duper awesome. Anyways, so my point, boy, am I easily distracted. My point is that I've been reading that book for a long time because it takes me a long time to read books.
Yeah.
But I probably spent an hour and a half with that book today, and I probably made it through 4 pages. Most of what I did was writing down things that were being triggered from the book and other things
Yeah.
that I've been studying that were allowing me to pull out incredibly important information about myself and my journey and where I'm headed and what I'm trying to do, and then writing all that down. That's that personal work. Reading a book, listening to an audio, and not doing the emotional work to like connect the dots is, I don't want to say it's meaningless, but you're just scraping the surface. You're just going to get a teeny bit. So that personal work, that hard ass work of digging in and like digging through the nasty bits of yourself and your soul and your heart and your mind that aren't so great, that's where you get the good stuff. And then of course, which goes along with introspection and all that, but like therapy, going to see somebody that has gone to school for a long time to learn how to help you move along and do your best work. Having a coach, having even somebody like my therapist, like I've got to be her favorite client because all I do is go blah, 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 blah. I yak the whole time, and like at the end she's like, so that was pretty good, and like that's our whole experience. But it's so helpful for me to have.
She has earphones on. She's listening to music.
She sleeps most of the time, but
Just like this.
I'm like, Dr. L. She's like, oh, sorry. So those would be my recommendations, would be doing your work. So let me break it down. Surrounding yourself with awesomeness, getting rid of lack of awesomeness. Like, there's no getting around that. You will not win if you do not make that big change.
Right.
Then doing the personal work, like diving deep into anything that you're actually studying, and then getting a therapist on board that can actually help coach you and push you through that stuff. That's like, you want to develop self-esteem and self-trust and self-worth and feel like you're in a great space. That's it. That's your recipe right there. And it's hard ass work. And that's why most people don't get it. So,
I would
do you have anything to
add, that you answered the question yourself. You know, like you said, I've been through the ringer, and these are, again, this isn't. You said it's not really questions. So you're probably
I
doing
hate when
a
you
lot of
always
this stuff.
have like the best answers in like a paragraph.
No, I mean, all I can say is like, you're not really asking us how to do it. You're saying it's talking points, which is cool. But I think like if it is question, like how do we get more, sturdy in terms of our self-reliance and self-esteem? It's like, you know how it is. Like, stop thinking about it. Stop worrying about it. We don't need to talk about it. If people are haters and they're getting on you for doing your own thing or bringing you down for stuff, it's like, who cares? Put them out of your life. Like, you can do tons of work for yourself, but the reality is they don't matter. And you said it yourself. Like, it's all about staying in your own lane and doing your own thing and not worrying about other people. So I don't know. I think sometimes people can get a little bit like too into the process of it, oh, just I can't believe haters, and they'll continue to talk about it. And it's just like, don't talk about it anymore. Just live your life.
Don't give it any
just
power.
Don't give it any more stuff than it already has given you, problems. So just move on, do your thing. Don't do anything. Just do your very best, I think. You know what I mean? Don't do bad stuff. Don't do illegal stuff. Do your very best. Really. And then you don't have to worry about what anyone else says. People say terrible things about the best people doing their very best work all over the world. Yeah. They're going to find something wrong, especially if you're doing bigger stuff. If you're taking bigger risks.
They're going to be looking for things,
my God,
right?
They're dying for it because all it does is show you're doing good stuff, is showing
just the mirror.
What they're not doing. So they're hating on you, but they're actually just hating on themselves. So you just have to go, I feel bad for you. I do.
Who was it? Was it Gary that said, hurt people, hurt people?
That's a good phrase.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. It's just that simple. Hurt people, unhappy people, hurt other people to try and make them unhappy.
You just have to think about what they're their life is like. Anyone who's out there hating and doing like, what are their quiet moments like? It's not comfortable. Probably not a good thing.
No.
So
hopefully that helps.
hopefully that helps, Siobhan. Rock it out.
Nice talking points, lady.
Thanks. Question number 2 comes from Jack. Jack Bull. Jack Bull. Are you throwing signs?
Yeah.
Jack says, is an e-collar painful? Have you tried it? If so, what does it feel like? I do believe it's a valuable tool in some cases, essential in some, although I've never used one, so I'm just curious. I'm impressed by your work. Thank you for your posts.
Well, thanks, Jack Bull. I don't know if that's the person's name. I don't know if that's their dog's name. I don't know.
Jack Bull?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it not be?
Because I think it's a female.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I tend to research this stuff. You're not the only one that digs a little deep.
Research.
You're not the only one that takes a peek at
No,
who's.
because there's a man and a female.
Yeah. That's
That could be like Jack's wife.
Jack Bull.
No, but that's the profile. But like, I could put Forrest in my profile, and you'll be like,
Yeah, but
oh,
that's
it's a
that's
baby.
more like a picture of like. Okay. Anyways, we could argue this forever.
I'm not arguing.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we may never know.
right.
So, either way. Okay, so,
Starting the timer.
okay, boy, I got to really roll through this. So, is an e-collar painful? So, the whole concept of any tool, like let's make dog training simple. This is even in the book, Dog Training 101. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, what? That's like, I don't approve of that. Dog Training 101 is like, make the things you like comfortable, make the things you don't like uncomfortable. If you keep it that simple, you can make amazing things happen with very minimal tools, and you don't need like multiple degrees to
don't
make
need
that
years
happen.
and years.
Yeah, right? Now, that said, just about any tool that you're going to use is going to have some component of that built into it. Even, Forrest, even like positive only tools like the easy pull harness and things like that. I mean, those tools are meant, even though they're marketed differently, like the no pull harness is marketed to be like it's easy and comfortable on your dog. The reality is it's supposed to be uncomfortable when your dog pulls. It's supposed to create tension, right? But it's done in an acceptable fashion, right? It's all marketing silliness and things like that. But the reality is if you're trying to change dogs' behavior for the most part, you have to create some kind of like reward, some kind of discomfort. I like this, and so here it's rewarded. I don't like this, and so here's a consequence, and I want to make it uncomfortable. So what the e-collar allows you to do is the e-collar allows you to have a conversation with your dog at tremendous distances. It allows you have an invisible leash on your dog, and then you can override extreme situations at distance. Because here's the thing, dogs know when you've got a leash on them, they know how close you are, they know how fast you are, they know if you can catch them, if you can't catch them, right? The e-collar changes that whole game. Basically, like your dog could be across the way at a park, and if you've done good e-collar recall work and your dog sees the squirrel and you call him back, he's going to come right back. Without the e-collar, your dog's like, it literally, you'll see a moment like this. You'll call your dog and he'll be like, he'll evaluate, and then he'll go, you can't catch me, and he's gone, right? And it's going to happen like that, but that's the gig. So if we want to keep our dogs safe, if we want to be able to communicate, if we want to have control, if we want to get dogs to move through challenging situations and hold them accountable for behaviors like sit down, place, recall, heel, all that stuff, there has to be discomfort involved. Like we're not hiding anything here. A lot of people are like, oh, they don't want to talk about e-collars being uncomfortable. E-collar, like at its lowest levels, is like virtually is it imperceptible or imperceptible? Imperceptible.
Yeah.
It really is like a tickle. Now, you start moving up higher and higher through that, and it starts to become more and more uncomfortable. Now, the reason we have different levels like that are so we can compete with drives, attitude, personality, determination, things like that, where a dog's like, both I'm afraid, so I'm going to push as hard as I can away from you, or I've got prey drive up the yin yang and I don't care what you say. If you're going to try and actually, in a realistic, non-bullshit sense, get some kind of like real compliance and dependability and reliability with the dog, there has to be a consequence that's valuable to that dog, which means discomfort. Sorry guys, which means discomfort for a fairly taught at a low level behavior, right? All of this stuff's taught in like a very smooth, soft, easy way. Here are the expectations, here's what it means.
Yep.
And then we start slowly proofing and saying like, you know what this means, even though there's a squirrel there, you gotta come back. And we do it on a long line and all that stuff like that. But yes, an e-collar is meant to have the ability to be highly uncomfortable if a dog needs high discomfort to not run into a street, to not run away like when you're out on a hike,
Right.
to not jump on somebody that's going to injure them, to not break place and run to a front door and try and bite somebody, to recall off of another dog when they want to go after the other dog and with ill intent and things like that. If you don't have that ability at a distance to create a consequence that's valuable enough to create different priorities with your dog, you're toast. So the reality is, like, to wrap up your question, yes, an e-collar is uncomfortable. Now the levels and degrees, like, is it uncomfortable for me to be outside without a jacket on? If it's cold, yeah, it's mildly uncomfortable. If it's really cold, it becomes way more uncomfortable. If it's freezing, it's really uncomfortable, right? So it's not like there's just one thing and it's just used one way to blast dogs. It's a very, very fair and a very what's the word I'm looking for? Help me, Forrest, help me. It's just the tool that allows us to create the most profound changes with dogs because of that distance thing I was sharing a second ago. If you can really get the psychological ramifications of a dog knowing you can communicate and influence them at a distance, it's a game changer. And if you don't get that, then it won't make any sense to you. If you feel like you can get a dog to recall off of anything, or like overwhelmed fear, or with, you know, like powerful states of mind with just food and nice things like that, if you're being really honest and you're working with more than one dog, not just your dog, but you're working with a multitude of dogs with problems, you'll see very quickly the limitations in those tools, because the consequence of removing food and things like that are not high enough. So yeah, so the e-collar is meant to be a variable kind of tool to create very low levels of, like, hey, I need you, to hey, I need you, to hey, get your ass over here. And that's kind of the reality of it.
And it doesn't feel, it's like more pressure, and it is uncomfortable if you get to the higher levels, but at the lower levels, it's more pressure and more like a TENS machine.
It's like a TENS, I mean, like, if you've ever been to had a TENS machine that's like really cranked up, they go.
Not super comfortable.
No, they're like,
but it's not like knives into your.
No, and the whole concept of it, like sending current through your body and like electrocuting you, it's not doing anything like that. It's creating a sensation, and the sensation is to go from being like virtually unknown, mildly uncomfortable, to more, depending on if you need it. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thanks. Did you see my nails? You didn't ask them. You didn't bring them up.
We didn't talk about nails. It's because I'm so out of practice, because last time I was in New Orleans.
That's right.
And I did talk about your nails last time though.
So I went to the nail salon today.
Yeah.
I had 1 hour.
And did you do it just for the show?
Basically, yeah. Well, I was missing 3. Like, I had let it go too long. And I was like, all right, I got to get it done, especially before the show. The show pushes me. And I went in today. I got a last minute appointment. I only had an hour because that was all the time Simon had and all the food we had ready. And I was like, okay, they got me in, and I sat down, and it was someone I'd never used before. In fact, I'd never even seen him there before. It was a guy. And I was
Is it usually a female?
Usually, yeah. I have like 2 girls that I go between. And this guy sits down, and I had the 1 hour, right? And I told him, like, I have an hour. And he starts taking off my old polish, but he's slow. And I can tell he's slow, not because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's slow because he really cares about it. He's not just like, like doing his thing. He's very like, he's like,
meticulous.
You can tell he's meticulous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I appreciate the meticulous, but I don't have the time. And so I'm kind of like, and he's doing it, and he's using like a, if girls know that there's like different levels of file, and he's using like a really low level of file, so it's just not
really
coming
fine.
off. Yeah, it's just like taking probably double the amount of time on each. And I,
like, where's the buzzsaw?
yeah, I'm
Come
like,
on,
just
baby.
get rid of it. I'm like, turn that machine up, and oh my god. And I was like,
You know that?
oh no, I was a bit down. And I was just like, and I told him in the middle, I was like, like after he finished, I was like, I only have like, at this point, I was like, I think I have like 35 minutes left. He'd just gotten the polish off, hadn't done anything else.
How long does it usually take from there?
Like, oh, that's the majority. After getting the polish off, the majority of the work happens. So I was like, oh shoot. And I was like, I have 30 minutes. He's like, it's okay, we'll get it. I'll get one of the girls to like do the polish while I'm. But he did a freaking amazing job.
Really?
Yeah, like they worked it out.
He's kind of the dude.
He was really good. I mean, if I had more time, if I wasn't rushed, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But he did it like, usually like one of the nails is like a little bit different than the other, like some of the length and stuff, but everything's like super pristine and like just looks really good. And he's getting all the edges and anyway.
All right, so you just need a little more time so you can.
Yeah, that's my nail story. So cute.
He snoozing.
He's cute when he sleeps. Okay.
I love him when he sleeps.
Question number 3.
Okay.
It comes from Destiny. Destiny says, are you doing both of them? Two-parter?
Is there a two-parter?
No, it's just the first one. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know when your dog no longer needs the collar indoors? I still use it outside for reliable recall, of course, but I'm very curious.
This one's on you.
What?
Because I just like hijacked the whole show, so go ahead.
You were like, I need to answer these. Okay. How do you know when e-collar is not needed indoors?
Indoors, yeah. So she's probably using it in other spots where she needs it.
Okay, let me think about this. It definitely depends. How does it not? Okay, so here's what I would tell a client. If your dog doesn't need it indoors, then that's when you know that he doesn't need it indoors. Let me go further than that. Okay, so if your
Let me know if you need me to take back over.
If your dog previously barked at the front door, went crazy when guests came. Ooh,
Forrest, what is going on over
like,
here?
I don't like when you talk.
When you talk?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if
He's really got strong eyes going on.
he's mad
In the dog world, we call those hard eyes. Oh my goodness. Hey bud, we're still friends, I promise. Oh, is he?
No, he's just like, yeah, he's just got a little bubbles.
Oh, okay. I can forgive
turning
that.
red, yeah.
I can forgive that.
So this is the deal.
Yeah.
Destiny.
I feel like you're stalling.
No, if your dog is used to bark at the front door and used to go crazy at guests, and now it just stays in place comfortably, when someone rings the doorbell and the guests come in, it looks up at you, whether you're correcting or not, and that's been going on for a long time, and it's not where you're having to watch the dog all the time. I think the real answer is, if you're asking the question, it's not time. Does that make sense? Like, and if you were like, if you knew, like if this had been consistent behavior, that the dog has been so good inside your house.
Maybe it has been.
Maybe, but I think you would just be like, we can lose the collar, or we're never using it.
I don't know. I think some people are really like wanting to make sure they don't mess it up.
Okay. All right. I'll go with that then. But let me know, Destiny, if I'm right, because I have this feeling. But
Yeah.
I would just say, if your dog's not doing any of the stuff before, you don't need any e-collar reminders. Dog's coming when called, doesn't
Right.
play keep away, goes to place when you say. You haven't corrected the dog in forever. When you forget to put the collar on the dog, which could occasionally happen, you say place, the dog still goes to place, doesn't bark, doesn't do this, doesn't do all that stuff,
Yeah.
Doesn't do all that behavior. And then the other part of this that's very important is that not just indoors, but how's your dog acting on the walk? So if your dog is on the walk and still giving you trouble, I still want you to have it on indoors, because I want you to watch for the little moments that could possibly be leading to the dog still giving you trouble outside. Does that make sense? So it's not just about like, hey, my dog is so good inside, because a lot of clients come to us and they're like, my dog is amazing inside, so good. Like it's only out on the walk that we get trouble. And then we see little moments that could be happening inside, like bursting out of the crate or going through thresholds or whatever. So make sure that like, when you say indoors, that everything is going pretty well. And yeah, if you haven't corrected your dog and you can't even remember the last time you had to correct them, and the times that you don't have the collar on, the dog's just listening and great, and you're having no issues, then you don't need the collar inside the house. And you can also be like, okay, well, I'm not sure. Just go without the collar for a week and see, like, do old behaviors start creeping in, or is the dog just aces? Then you can use that. But the cool thing is you can always put the collar back on. It's not like you're surgically removing it and like it's a forever decision. This is something that you could take it off for a little while.
Experiment with and see what you get.
See what you get. So you don't really know, but I would say you'll know in your heart of hearts, unless you're super like regimented about like, okay, on this, at this stage, I want to take off the collar. I bet you know if the dog's.
Yeah. I mean, and all I was going to say is that, like, it depends on your dog's behavior, attitude, pushiness, and how much you pattern, which is a lot of what Laura said, just in like a quicker, more succinct fashion, if I might.
Thank you.
Or if I may. And, but basically it really means the same thing. Like, if your dog's in a really great space and you don't need the e-collar, if you haven't used it in a coon's age, it's like, cool, like, then he's probably not needing that. And that's typically the first place where dogs are cool, the distractions aren't as much. But if you've got door stuff still going on, no way. If you've got like...
If it's like every other day he's good, no way.
No. We're talking about consistent, awesome badassery.
I can't even remember the last, I don't even know where my remote is.
You should really feel like your dog's in just a different space.
Do you get what I'm saying when I say like, that's why if you're asking the question, it's probably not time yet?
Yeah, I do get, I don't know. I don't have the same intuition that you have.
Well, I'm not saying Destiny, like, oh, Destiny, like, I know her situation. I'm just saying, like, this is what I will say. When ex-clients ask, it's not time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ex-clients
you could be right on the money.
That just send us an email and say, oh, we haven't used the e-collar inside the house for 2 months now and everything is great. They knew it was time because they're like, the dog is aces. Nothing's going wrong.
Yeah.
So you don't need to.
The last thing I'd add, Laura was talking about you can take the collar off and give it a shot. The only thing I'd add to that is that if you're early in the process, you don't want to be doing that,
that's
right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be creating a collar-wise dog by like, all right, we're 3 weeks into the program, we're a month into the program, we're 2 months into the program, and now we're going to just like see how the dog does. You need to be seeing like awesome, fantastic, crazy, good behavior and attitude changes consistently for a really long time, because if you start taking the collar off and your dog starts gambling and sees that when this feels that when this pressure's on, I have to make good decisions because I can get corrected. And when I don't feel this, I don't. Then you're liable to get that collar-wise dog. It's like when the collar's on, I'm great. When the collar's off, I'm not great. So there's no perfect answer. And there's trainers, I've heard plenty of trainers that are like, it's impossible to not make a collar-wise dog. Like it's not easy. It's not. What's that?
We'll talk about that.
Okay, but I mean, I've heard other folks, like.
I think it's true.
Yeah, but I mean, I've heard like some old school trainers that are like, a ton of experience, and they're just like trying to get a dog to be completely not called. They're just too smart.
Crazy. That's literally like being like, you've had a cop behind you every single day while you're driving the Jag for the first 60 days that you had the Jag, and now the cop's not behind you anymore. And you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm so in the habit of driving nice that I'm not going to put the pedal to the metal with this baby. I'm sorry. It's just
but then conversely, think about what if that had been a year of driving like that? Would it slowly condition you to where you don't even think about it?
It would possibly, but you still.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just throwing that out there.
Went off. I just turned it off for the baby. But like, I just think, and I'm not. This is where I'm not fancy. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the not fancy part of the training for me. Is like collar-wise dogs. Yeah. If you take it off too soon, Destiny. If you're like, oh my gosh, he was really good for 3 days, so we can take it off. You're gonna get a collar-wise dog. That's why we tell owners like it could be a couple years. You know what I mean? But I really truly believe like unless you're going to devote your life to not creating this collar-wise dog, wearing the dummy collar, having them like...
It's really hard.
It's really hard. And I was talking to Ashley Smentek the other day, and we were talking about this exact topic, and I was like, usually people that don't have collar-wise dogs, if the dog does something wrong when they're not wearing the collar, they issue another type of consequence to show like, I don't care whether you're wearing the collar or not. You're gonna get like, are you gonna get a bonk? Are you gonna get like, I'm talking about farmers or something. They'll like boot their dog for doing something, going after the sheep. You know what I mean? Like that's where the dog's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing.
Consequences come no matter what. Right.
But we're not going to do that as dog owners, you know. We're not going to be doing that same stuff. So I just truly believe it's really hard.
It is really hard, but I think the upshot here is that pattern as much as you can.
Yeah.
And we've definitely seen dogs that like without e-collars are like rocking and rolling and just like they learn the rules of the road. And that's kind of why I got into like attitude and things like that, because attitude has so much to do with it. Like whether a dog wants to gamble or not, like drivey, attitude-y guys, like they're gonna push way more. Really soft, sweet dogs are gonna be like, oh, I know what the rules of the road are and I'm cool with it, you know? So that's, I think we need to move on or we're going to like run this show into the ground.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Okay, question number 4. This comes from Stephanie. Stephanie says, hey guys, I've been using e-collars with both of my dogs for about 6 months now, and I've been using it effectively to correct for jumping up, barking, etc. But it doesn't work for whining. When I correct my dog for whining, he doesn't seem to know what I want for him. He'll offer other behaviors like sitting, lying down, looking away, even go into place if there's a bed nearby, but still whining loudly all the while. Even as I increase the level, he'll just keep cycling through those commands and that he's learned. Oh wow, what do I do?
Good question, right?
Yeah. Cute doggies.
Okay, so here's what I got for you, Stephanie. So, and I could be wrong, but what it sounds like, you've been using the e-collar, Forrest. You've been using the e-collar for, I think she said, what, jumping, barking, etc. Okay, so my suspicion is that your dog's whining probably, here, dig on this, probably, I love that I said dig on this, like I'm taking you back to the 70s. Dig on this, is probably not doing enough like duration work, place command, down, you know, like hour and a half, 2 hours, things like that, which will help your dog get out of this kind of like demanding, whining, like seriously, like this is your first step. Get your dog into a mode where your dog turns off, right? A dog that's wandering the house, even if he's not barking, even if he's not jumping, you don't have, this is why we talk about a comprehensive state of mind program, because otherwise we're just like going after symptoms. Stop that barking, stop that jumping, don't counter surf, don't do that, come when I call you, whatever. We're looking for a dog that knows how to relax, shut off, and be like chill and calm no matter what's going on around them. So I would, if you're not doing it, I would pattern an hour and a half to 2 hours, you know, like stints multiple times a day of place command with your dog. And then I'm going to build off this. So that's the first step. And that's built in to create a more calm, relaxed, less kind of like anxious dog. The whining's coming from like, I want, right? Place command, don't move. Okay, so I don't want so much, right? So that should help. Now, secondarily, if you're correcting your dog when your dog's not in command for whining and your dog doesn't understand why that correction's coming, that's most likely why you're getting all these other behaviors offered. So your dog's like, well, maybe I need to go there. Maybe I need to shake. Maybe I need to sit down, roll over, ba-da-da-da. Your dog's trying to figure out what you want him to do or her to do because your dog doesn't have any clarity about what that correction means and why it's happening. So that's what feeds into my brilliant plan of place command, because once your dog's in place, then you can correct with a verbal no for whining in place, right? Now your dog isn't just walking around, and this might sound like it doesn't all add up, but I'm telling you it will, because we do it all the time. Your dog's now been conditioned to stay in place no matter what. So he knows he's in command. Now, your dog doesn't break place, so if a correction comes, he knows it's not because he's breaking place. So there's no confusion about I need to go back to place. There's no confusion about I need to recall to you. Dog knows it needs to be in place. But when he's whining, you say no and you tap. And your dog goes, oh crap, it's because I'm making the sound while I'm in place, and then it starts to inhibit that sound, that whining, whatever the, whining, barking, whatever's going on with that. So that would be my game plan. I would be looking for overall state of mind with duration work, and then I would be looking for clarity about why that correction's coming, and connecting a word, and also making sure the dog understands it's in a position that doesn't necessitate it doing anything else to turn off the e-collar correction.
Right.
Does that make sense? So that's kind of the way I'd go about it. The only other thing I could add is if you are doing that stuff already and you're finding that your dog, like what we typically will see with dogs that sometimes get confused from place when you tap correct, like I'd start low, by the way, is that they'll recall to you. A lot of times they'll be like, oh, I'm supposed to recall to you, which is, once again, even though that kind of sounds like it conflicts with what I just said, those moments kind of come up occasionally where the dog's like, oh, I think you want me to recall to you. And you just say no, correct, and you send them back, right? So that would be something that you might see occasionally. But what I was going to add is if you want to add a different word to it, if you're using all of this stuff like I'm saying, and you want to add like quiet, you want to add like zip it up, you want to add like Kayete vato, you want to add something like that that's like different to where the dog has a lot of clarity that it's not about any other command, then that's a good way to go about it, right? So we just use no, and we find that works really well as long as the dog is in command and understands first the command is non-negotiable, and then we use lower levels typically to correct for whining, just with a verbal no. But make sure you add that verbal no so the dog knows that, oh, it's the whining that's causing it. Make sure the dog doesn't think I'm supposed to come to you or do something else. Sound good?
Yeah,
Makes sense?
I mean, it's hard because it's like, I feel like she's done a full program with them because she's saying that the dog will offer all sorts of behaviors.
Right.
You know? So, but
if
it's
the
also
dog's
like,
wandering, the dog's wandering and being corrected for whining, the dog has no idea what it's being corrected for.
So it probably just needs more duration, especially only 6 months in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Still kind of new, although it may not feel new. It is sort of new to them. So yeah, maybe just a little bit more of a lockdown.
I would check that out.
Yeah, cool. All right, hope that helps.
Thank you.
Question number 5 comes from Trooper Hughes. Trooper says, "Hi, Sean and Laura. My dog got in a little scuffle on the trails yesterday." Is that how you spell scuffle?
No.
Oh, I thought it was. I was like, oh, I've always been spelling it wrong.
No.
Okay, a scuffle.
The other big word that gets misspelled all the time?
What?
Skittish.
Skittish. How do you spell skittish? Skittish.
But it usually gets, typically, and no judgment, typically it gets spelled Skiddish.
Oh, yeah. Those are hard ones.
It's an easy mistake. It's an easy mistake. I always just think about dogs like skidding along.
Okay, got it, yeah. Thankfully, there were no injuries on the scuffle, but it was a stressful event. We were hiking on a trail, it's usually empty, and had Trooper off leash on an e-collar. He stays pretty close to us, and his recall is fantastic. When we pass other people, we put him into a tight hole.
Tight hole? Get in that hole! Watch out when you behave.
And when we see other dogs,
it's like one of those tiger traps that they have, like leaves over it. Here comes a dog! Sorry, guys.
I'm picturing like a war zone.
It is a war zone out there.
When we see other dogs, we leash them up out of respect for the other party. Yesterday, when we turned a sharp corner, we saw a large white dog 20 to 30 feet in front of us. I'm not even going to attempt that word. A Samoyed?
Samoyed?
Oh, yeah, okay. I immediately told Trooper to come back. As he was turning around, he saw the white dog charging
Trooper,
him.
come back!
And he ignored my command. It's the first time he's...
Damn it, Trooper!
It's the first time he's blown him off.
Yeah.
He stood his ground and went face to face with the white dog. They sniffed each other and then got into a fight. Oh, I can picture that tense moment where they're just looking at each other, sniffing. Oh
you're
my
like,
God, it's the
no,
worst.
Trooper, don't do
Don't
it.
do it, Trooper. It was mostly a lot of noise and was broken up quickly by my husband. I, on the other hand, panicked and did nothing.
Well, you panic, that's something.
Oh, this is why you gave me this question. I kicked myself the entire way home for not being able to prevent the incident. Since we encounter more and more off-leash dogs with zero recall or missing owners on the trails, what would have been the best thing to do? I had the remote in my hand, but I didn't correct him because I didn't know what it would have done. Been good to turn his back to the other dog.
That's the part I want you to.
Okay, but I didn't correct him because I didn't know if it would have been good to turn his back to the other dog.
So she called him, right? So she called Trooper, who's got a great recall,
Right.
but he didn't recall because that dog was like,
got
and
it.
instead of
Okay.
correcting firmly,
Got it.
she was worried if she did, he'd turn his back and it might cause more problems.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Oh.
I get it. I want to be able to have my dog off leash, but I don't want to experience another situation like that.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
Have you got my drift?
Yes. I catch what you're putting out.
Excellent.
So, Trooper. Is the dog Trooper?
I don't know.
Oh, you just called it Trooper. Okay. So, Trooper.
Be a little trooper, would you?
Yeah. This is a great question. So, this is one of those scenarios that, you know, I thought you were talking about me. I thought you put me on this because when I get in situations, I've gotten in some situations, whether it's with training situations or with my own dogs, I tend to freeze up when there's sort of like a conflict. And it's not because I like don't know what to do. It's not because, but I just literally freeze up.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have that experience because now you know, okay, this is what I do next time in that situation. God forbid it happens again.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, what you were pointing out, the dog's running away, you recall him, he doesn't listen, you rock and roll on that collar. Doesn't matter him turning
Can
away.
you define rock and roll for me?
You double wherever you were, or you just dial.
Roll.
Yes, roll on that collar.
Rock and roll.
Roll, because
Yeah.
we don't want...
You've got a split second.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just gonna help while
Please
you're wrangling over there. You've got a split second. You recalled Trooper. To be honest, in my world and probably in your world as well.
I know what you're going to say, but...
Yeah, because you're a smarty pants.
No, because I lived it.
Yeah, in a situation, guys and gals, in a situation where like the rubber meets the road and there's a dog right there and possible conflict or fights going on,
Roll it for the first one.
don't mess around and do a
Yeah.
verbal. Correct
Yes.
and call your dog to where you get your dog's freaking attention at a high level that the dog goes, holy shit, I'm getting my ass over to you right now.
Quickly.
If you do the verbal, you just lost a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Now you have to ascertain, he's not listening, and you've got to try and roll and then get another command out. Meanwhile, everything's closing in distance-wise.
When you've got like, for normal walking off leash, right? Your dog's distraction level, say on a level, you know, 1 through 10, maybe it's like at a 3.
Yeah.
Just walking on the trail. So saying no or come or something like that without even tapping or a low level tap.
Great stuff.
Can override that
Yeah.
3, right? But once they see another dog, shoo, you're shooting up to like 8, 9ville.
Yep.
So this verbal or low level tap down here isn't even touching this. You're never, the dog doesn't even
notice it.
notice it. Yeah. Or like, oh, that's just background noise to my like, there's a dog. So the thing with, you know, obviously what you just said about the verbal, but then also that second correction, I get that. I've had that tense moment before where my dog's gotten close to a dog and I'm like, I don't want to correct because I don't want to incite something.
Now,
or I don't want to.
so then let's clarify.
Yeah.
If the dogs are like this,
Right.
that's not the time to go with a high correction.
That's why-
you will create a fight.
Right. That's what I was going to say. You want to correct as early as you can when you sense, because you can sense when your dog's starting to, I'm picturing Cujo right now, but when you can sense when your dog's about to blow you off, they're starting to make those connections in their head like, I'm going to do this right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You roll up quick and you make that happen. Don't give that first chance or whatever because...
First, when you guys are in the possible land of conflict and dog fights,
Yeah.
don't F around.
Right.
Roll up, tap that button and call your dog to where your dog goes, holy shit, I'm going.
Right.
Right? you may not get a second chance. If it happens really fast, you may have had that one moment and that's it.
Right. And
So
once they make contact with the dog, you lay off that e-collar. You don't touch it.
right, and just to reiterate, because what Laura was getting at was really important. If your question had been worded that I called Trooper back, and then within 2 seconds the dogs are close distances and we're at each other like neck and neck and like head over each other's shoulder.
Dog came shooting out, and I didn't even see him come. And
Right.
Yeah.
Both of us would say don't correct,
Yeah.
right? That would be a situation where it would be a way more challenging one to try and sort it out. But from the way you worded it, you actually had some time. You saw the dog, you called Trooper didn't recall, and you were worried. Your concern wasn't that they were so close that it would elicit a fight.
Right.
It was that if Trooper turned his back, he might like become vulnerable, or he might be inciting an attack, something like that. I wouldn't be concerned about that.
Yeah.
I'd get my dog's ass back to me.
Right.
Pronto fasto.
Quickly.
So I hope that makes sense. What I would love for you to practice, I think this would be good practice for Trooper or whoever the name of the owner is to go out and to be in situations where there's definite possibilities of seeing dogs, but at the split second, you want a pattern Trooper to be never consider blowing off a verbal command. Spend the next couple of months. You don't have to blast them, but spend the next couple of months with some slightly higher level e-collar corrections. First time you call him, bang, boom, get him over there. You see a dog, come with the tap at the same time. He's going to be like, man, mom sees a dog, mom calls me, I move my butt, right?
I've created that now with Cujo so much, especially at the park, that now he sees a dog and you can see him almost damn it, and he comes running over.
Explain, how'd you do it?
That exact thing.
Exact same thing?
So he does care about low levels when he's on a lower kind of, when his brain's
Intensity,
lower.
yeah. And did you get that? So what Laura's saying is that once Cujo's in drive, trying to go after another dog or really excited, 100 almost doesn't register.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't register,
No.
right? But at a lower level where he just sees the dog for the first moment,
I can do 10 and he'll be like, oh,
and he comes right back.
yeah. But that now because he continues to kind of see the dog, I can tap at 10 and he'll come back. I'm like, I don't want to do that for the rest of your life.
Management.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to manage you. So I went a little higher. I think at the time I did 45 or 50 for a first look. And now when he sees dogs, he just runs back to me. Not out of fear. He doesn't fear me for a minute.
No, but he just knows, I'm going to get myself into trouble.
There's just no point. I'm not even going to gamble on it.
You had a scuffle at the park at one point,
Yep.
so you want to be careful. Anyways, I hope that makes sense. So don't be worried about your dog turning its back to the other dog. Don't correct when they're neck and neck. Don't correct when they're in tense moments right next to each other. But I would correct as soon as you see a dog. If you are in an environment where you know there are dogs around, I would already be dialed up to a certain degree that would be valuable to your dog. And the moment that you see the dog, I would recall and I would just start patterning. When you see a dog, you get your ass over to me and you make no bones about it. I want it now. And I'm no verbal warning. Then you can get to the verbal because your dog will be just like Laura's dog. See the dog? I better think about this, right? Very different situation. So anyways, I hope that helps. We don't want you to have any more fights. And if you get your dog back to you quick enough and you don't mess around, don't monkey around, you'll avoid those fights. So anyways, I think we have to sign off because
the battery's almost out, so say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
And Laura, goodbye. Are you going to say goodbye?
Bye.
And that's it? Forrest, want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
All right, guys.
All right.
See you next week.
You.